Another one is about being listened to. And I think this is fascinating because I run a lot of leadership development programs. And one of the biggest challenges is actually getting managers to listen. But it works both ways. Individuals don't necessarily listen to managers, and equally managers, perhaps don't necessarily listen sufficiently to individuals. Let's look at conviction now. One of the key elements around conviction is managing resilience. Okay, your ability to cope when times are tough. And there's some really interesting research here around people who, there are various different types of coping. And the people who show greatest resilience to keep up their motivation when times are tough are proactive copers. And the research says that proactive copers are extremely well networked. Now, those of you who are familiar with Belbin and Belbin's team roles will know that there's the resource investigator. And the resource investigator is the person who knows everybody. And you've got a problem, I know somebody who we can go and talk to get the information, to fix things with whatever. Proactive copers have good networks, and they leverage those networks for support, to get things done, to find out information, etc. They actually anticipate the roadblocks. They contingency plan. They think about what if ahead of time. So they have this perceived sense of control over situations. They also see events in an upbeat way. So they look at the positive interpretation, take the positive slant on things. And because they look at things in a more positive way, guess what? They feel it inside. Let's look at culture. One of the key issues that we found around this sense of fit is that people feel a lack of control in terms of how they manage their environment, their culture. Now, what's interesting here is that there's sometimes a difference between perception and reality. And a lot of the time, and I know maybe you find this, that you may be working with people, you may feel it yourself, or it may be in your team, where actually you feel, I don't have any control in this situation. And it's easy then to fall victim and actually think, well, there's nothing I can do, and you get frustrated and one can get into a negative spiral. Actually, people often have more control over their own environment than they realise. And if you don't have absolute control, what do you have influence over? Because once you start to think about what do I have control, what do I have influence over, you can then actually start to think about, well, what action can I take, rather than remaining fixed or feeling trapped in the situation. So here are some of the sorts of questions that you can ask. What do you want to protect? What do you want to change? How can you make this happen? What can you learn from others? And actually it's about those kinds of questions which are provoking people to take more responsibility for sorting it out themselves, rather than relying on their manager to sort it out for them. And let's look at commitment. One of the issues around commitment is, one of the key elements that underpins commitment is people's sense of doing something worthwhile. That means they need a kind of a core and a motivating purpose of some sort. There's a very interesting piece of research done by somebody called Amy Rezhnevsky. She discovered that there are in fact three types that basically, whether it's CEOs right down to quite junior people, that people have three different attitudes, in a sense, to the work that they do. There are those who just see the role that they play as a job. They're the ones who just do it for the money. There are people who see their role as a part of a career, and they're interested in money and status. And then there are those who have a calling. And the calling is that sense of higher purpose. So I'd ask each and every one of you, do you have a higher purpose? Where are you on this? Where do you think your employees are? What is it that you could do to actually get people to start to think about, why do I come to work? Is there a broader calling? Am I in the right place? Because if you can find, and we have some exercises around getting people in touch with other people's core purpose and really starting to think about, you know, what is your own core purpose? Because if you can think of something that is more worthwhile than just the job, then you've got that greater sense of connectedness, which really helps build commitment. Let's look at confidence. One of the things that's really important about confidence is it's context specific. So some people, which is kind of different to your sense of self-worth, which is about your identity. This is your confidence in your ability, your capability to do something. Now, what's interesting around self-belief is it's based on the research of Albert Bandura, a psychologist. And he said that there are 4 things that can make a big difference to building self-belief. Your belief in your own capability. One is about experiencing success. So the more we're successful at something, guess what? It reinforces our belief that we can do something well. So one of the things as managers you can do to encourage people is to find successful opportunities. You may need to pace people to do that, but the more they can experience success in standing up and presenting in front of a group of people and carrying out some specific tasks, the more people are likely to start to believe in their own capability. Observing others. This is around kind of modelling. What do good people do? And what can I learn from how people who are competent at this approach the task in terms of mindset and in terms of strategy to actually deliver the task? How can I learn from other people around this? Being persuaded. I'm sure each and every one of you have developed your self-belief because of someone else's belief in you. So you can do it. Of course you can. Go on, have a go, try. Because actually it's the persuasion piece that will often get us to start to do it so that we then experience the success and then start to believe that that can actually make a difference. Interpreting mind and body responses. This is about being aware that there are certain situations that are challenging and realising it's okay to feel a bit anxious about them. And a classic one is, you know, standing up in front of a group of other people and presenting. That actually it's okay to be a bit nervous, or it's okay to go into a board meeting and you've got a tough message to deliver and you've got to defend, you know, your piece. That's perfectly okay, it's context specific. To be revved up, you just need to think about, well, what do I need to do to prepare sufficiently that I can feel comfortable to get through this particular situation. And what Bandura says is that each one of these can make a difference in terms of actually helping build up people's self-belief. And if people believe enough in their own capability, they'll start to develop their confidence in terms of approaching the task. And confidence underpins everything in the model. So, in terms of some things to think about here, there's many factors that actually influence productivity. You see for yourself, there's quite a complex model there. There's a whole bunch of elements that underpin each of them. So we really just touched one in each of the five C's. The important thing here, I think, is in terms of actually getting people to get more ownership, is really around, you know, you need a framework. You need to actually be able to identify and pinpoint what the issues are. Once you can pinpoint what the issues are, what's fascinating in terms of actually getting people to get ownership is that once people are aware, they can already start to take some control. They can already start to influence what it is that they want from you as their manager, or actually influence what's happening in the workplace. So it actually helps build up people's resources to take more control. Our research says that actually action is contingent on linking to core purpose and long-term engagement. So if people can have a sense about actually why I'm here and what I'm doing, and how I can make a difference to the organisation, and that links up to their goals and objectives and how that connects, and also to their sense of commitment to doing something worthwhile, that can make a difference to propelling people to take action. And if you've got a process that actually diagnoses, well, where on this model is the issue that we need to be addressing here, then you can save time, money and frustration, which makes a big difference. So, if you want to find out more about this, I've just given you very much a flavour of what the whole concept of happiness at work is all about, but also how it links to productivity. Jessica Price-Jones is she's one of the founding directors of iOpener. As I said, we've done 5 years worth of research, and what the book does is highlight the model in a lot more detail than I've had time to do today. You can buy it on Amazon. It's also on Boomerang Books in Australia if you do want to find it. Our particular goal in iOpener is that we want to spread the word around how people can take more ownership in building up productivity, and how people can take more ownership in building up their motivation and their drivers to take control of their own environments. So we built up a global community, and I think the really exciting piece is that more and more people are sharing how it's working in their organisations. More and more people are developing additional iTools within the community to help others in terms of addressing some of the issues in each of these key areas. And there's a whole kind of broader community out there. And I guess our key driver is how can we actually broaden the community? How can we share some of the psychological research and how it actually impacts people's happiness as a mindset to improve productivity at work?